Let's in fact quickly dive into our debate on the news hour. Will a political fight at this stage only delay real action? Concrete laws to help the rape victims. That is in fact our news hour debate. Let me just introduce our panel tonight. Nirmala Sitharaman, National Spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Shazia Elmi, member of the Aadmi Party. We're also joined in the Delhi studio by V K Singh. She's the convener of Slut Walk. We are also joined in by Keshav Rao, the representative from the Congress Party, senior leader of the Congress, joining us live from Hyderabad. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Ved Pratap Vaidik, associate of Baba Ramdev. He also joins us live from New Delhi. And we'll soon be joined in by V K Singh, former Additional Solicitor General from New Delhi. Vineet Narayan, senior journalist, also joins us from New Delhi. Considering Nirmala Sitharaman, the first question, the moot question that we are asking, a political, fight at this particular point in time, don't you think that precedence has it? It has only delayed action.
But it is the responsibility of political parties. If by politicization you are trying to suggest that involvement of political parties at this stage, I would only want to, state the fact here. If political parties, in their role and responsibility, do not take up this issue, which is already angering the citizens of this country, it will be a shirking of our responsibility. We've been watching this all the while, expecting that the government would come up with a responsible and sensitive reaction to the people, in fact response to the people's call, saying that they would come up with concrete steps and elaborate on those steps. What we found, on the contrary, is that government tried engaging with the police and engaging in such harsh way. At the end of the day, from our side, from the BJP side, you had Sushma ji talking to the Prime Minister, you had Advani ji talking to the Home Minister, saying please let the police not be harsh on these people. They're our children, they're out there voicing their concern and anxiety. None of that worked. In fact, Sushma ji even demanded, saying call a special session. We're all willing to work. We will talk about things because it's high time. We looked at the way in which our rape laws are.
The main problem here is...
Yes. Yeah, that's the question, isn't it, to Madam Sitharaman? The fact is, when the Parliament was in session, you were stalling Parliament, and now you're calling for a special session.
Exactly.
We can't hear him.
What Anand is basically asking is that when the Parliament was in session, in fact, in this very session, the Criminal Law Amendment Bill 2012 was introduced in the Lok Sabha on 4th of December 2012 by the Home Minister Sushilkumar Shinde. The bill seeks to amend the Indian Penal Code 1860 and the Code of Criminal Procedure, that is CRPC 1973, and the Evidence Act 1872. This bill was introduced.
Yes.
You never let the House function for a different political cause.
Excuse me, what allowed the House to function is not a one-sided affair. It is a question of taking up issues and discussing them in full. When the government doesn't co-opt the other opposition parties, take their views and then run the House in such a way that all the bills which are being introduced or issues that might come up as and when are discussed with a sense of urgency.
That many would say is a convenient argument. You would wait for an issue to perhaps escalate and then pick it up and then perhaps reiterate that we have taken this issue up in the past.
Every issue which gets tabled or which gets discussed in the Parliament needs the attention of both the opposition and of the ruling party. Now, if the ruling party tries to stave off a discussion just because it's uncomfortable to them, it doesn't mean just because the House has to be very smoothly functioning, opposition also will have to sit quiet. On the contrary, I would think it is important that the opposition raises the issue. I'm sure when the time came, we would have discussed this bill also. But the whole of... I'll take the example of the women's bill. When it was introduced in the Rajya Sabha, it was the BJP which helped the government have the bill passed. But after which, you don't see them taking up that particular bill in the Lok Sabha. Most often, we find that the Congress-led UPA is not really committed to those very important bills which are coming on for discussion in the Parliament. So I wouldn't take much of my first initial response.
In fact, Anand, why don't you put that across to the Congress?
I'd like to bring Keshav Rao on this. The last time we saw such unison in terms of voices in the both houses was when it came to the salary allowances and pension of members of Parliament. This was back in 2010. That bill was passed in 3 days. Perhaps the voice of unison, greater than the sense of the House for the Lokpal, was for this case, where in terms of atrocities of women, then why the delay and why such a problem in amending the bill and bringing up this issue of criminal laws?
Well, we should have asked Nirmala Sitharaman, because the BJP did raise this issue and Congress did participate in this, and there was unison. I don't know how you missed it. The entire debate has kind of a reason that you are asking for. Look here, let us not mix the things today. It is such a serious issue. Let us not politicalize it also to such an extent where you air-split things. Today is such a sensitive issue that there is not a single person in this country who is not ashamed of it, what has happened. So let us not play to some kind of a populist, make some kind of populist echo in the things. Today, did the government respond immediately is one question before you.
No.
It did, as far as the Home Minister is concerned. Did the Parliament, no,
Mr.
let me complete it. Did the Parliament respond immediately? No, let me, no.
Did the government respond immediately? Mr. Keshav Rao, the answer is no.
Did they really respond immediately?
No.
It's the eighth day of the protest that the Prime Minister has spoken.
No, look here. It is not the Prime Minister. Home Minister is the person who is concerned. If the Chief Minister comes and says what I could find fault. You see, I am not only speaking for Congress. I think I am also as much an activist as anybody else is. So if the Chief Minister of Delhi shouldn't have come and said, I am not in charge of police. That was absolutely most uncharitable statement a person could have done.
Rao.
But question is, the Home Minister...
Mr. Keshav Rao...
No, let me complete it. Now,
yeah, but that was a Congress Chief Minister. The lady belongs to Congress, Mr. Keshav Rao.
So what? So I am also, Mr. Nirmala,
Chief Minister
I might be a Congress, but I am also Keshav Rao. You understand that? Nirmala, I might be Congress, but I am also Keshav Rao. I think you understand better.
Mr. Keshav Rao, Ms. Sitharaman, that's exactly the problem. It all boils down to politicizing this entire issue.
No, but
all boiling down.
Let me,
the central government and the state government, both of which are Congress.
Excuse me.
And of course, where Congress and BJP are concerned.
Why are you fighting an issue that is a union?
We've all been there. We're watching what's happening, and it's pathetic what's going on. It's so arbitrary and
exactly, Shazia Alvi. You will have to point a finger at yourself
too. The handling of this issue has happened.
What did the Aam Aadmi Party, why did the Aam Aadmi Party jump into the fray on the third day of the protest? When it was gathering steam. Why were everybody wearing banners and topis of Aam Aadmi Party if it was a genuine cause and not politicization and not branding and canvassing for Aam Aadmi Party?
There would in fact be criticism of your party also, Shazia Alvi. The fact that 8 days later, suddenly the Aam Aadmi Party realizes that forget Lokpal, forget the other corruption issues, we have to jump into the fray as far as this issue is concerned. Why isn't this also not politicizing?
You know, if you're there, you say, why are you making a political issue out of it? If you're not there, you say, why can't we see you? We've all been there. A whole lot of volunteers that you see
nobody is stopping.
Sanket, you recognize most of them.
Nobody is stopping anybody from protesting.
No, but we're not talking about it.
But it is the Aam Aadmi Party that shows beyond the protest.
But more importantly...
Not as Aam Aadmi Party. And it's not, this is not the time to garner votes for my party. This is the time to be part of a protest. We are not leading
but more importantly...
But then why go and
you may deny any political motives, but there are many people, Arvind Kejriwal, Prashant Bhushan, all of them have emphasized that there are political reasons behind this.
No, Sanket, you're missing a point here. Yeah. If people appearing during the protest, which has remained largely apolitical, without any political leadership but going on peacefully, if you think that that is a time when you should not appear, let me also then recollect one particular thing. Last 2 years, since December of 2010, if I remember correct, the Mahila Morcha, the BJP's women's wing, has been giving several representation to the police commissioner, saying, please let us have better patrolling, let us have more PCR vans, let us have, women's groups interacting with the administration and so on. Let me then ask you, if you think if our appearance during this kind of an agitation is politicization of the whole matter, what was the response given by the police commissioner or the Delhi Congress administration, which constantly reminds us that the law and order is under the union government, and union government is not an outside government, it's a Congress government too. So they are playing politics between the Delhi government and the Union Home Ministry, both of which are trying to say it's not their turf.
Let's in fact get in a new voice. Anand, if you would want to ask a question to Dr. Ved Pratap Vaidik.
Yeah, I was just going to Dr. Vaidik.
I want to ask a question.
I was just going to Dr. Vaidik. Mr. Rao, I'll just come to you, Mr. Keshav Rao. Dr. Vaidik, Baba Ramdev arrives on Sunday, a week afterwards, on top of a bus, and then is now booked for inciting the crowd. What was he doing there?
Well, right from the day one, myself and Baba Ramdev have been talking about it. We have been telling the several channels who were asking us, and also the newspaper people. And not only that, we have spoken, me personally, I had spoken to several leaders of the government, several cabinet ministers, that you must act fast and you must respond politically. But unfortunately, the ruling party, the ruling elite today doesn't have any politician. They are fake people. They are fake leaders.
No, but what did he do when he came? What did he do when he came? He just spoiled it all, didn't he? He agitated the crowd, he incited the crowd, and he turned what was a peaceful protest and that was gathering momentum and chorus, and the voices were being heard. He just disrupted the proceedings.
I was present there. No, Mr. No, this is not right. I was present. I addressed the gathering. Baba Ramdev thrice told all his supporters to remain quiet, to remain disciplined, to remain peaceful, and he always used the word अहिंसात्मक है, अनुशासनात्मक है. पुलिस अगर हमें रोकती है तो हमें रुक जाना चाहिए. हमें कोई बैरियर नहीं तोड़ना चाहिए, हमें कोई हिंसा नहीं करनी चाहिए. और जब पुलिस ने अचानक, हम जब तीनों उतरे मंच से, वी के सिंह, बाबा रामदेव और मैं, हम मंच से उतर रहे थे, इतने में पुलिस ने लाठी चार्ज कर दिया. और पुलिस ने एक लाठी मुझे भी लगभग मार दी.
तब
मैंने पुलिस को रोक के कहा, क्या करते हैं? What happened? Tell me. I would like to know it. What is it? Which I couldn't see with my own eyes.
No, what Baba Ramdev was saying that be disciplined, अनुशासनात्मक रहिए और अहिंसात्मक रहिए, that didn't happen. His supporters weren't non-violent and they were not listening to the police calls. They were trying to push their way through the barricades. Otherwise, why would the police lathi charge?
What were they doing? Let me know, please. Please. You know, that's what I am saying. We have no politicians. Our fake politicians have turned India into
if you were to talk about...
Coming right back to you, just introducing a fresh voice here.
They did the same. Today they have repeated the same.
Exactly.
You know, like a politician, like a good politician, they should have channelized this national anger into something very positive, which they could not.
No, but the criticism also will be, Dr. Vaidik, the fact that perhaps Baba Ramdev was trying to further his own agenda. There was in fact talk of some pamphlets being distributed.
This country as their enemy. You know how strange the attitude of the ruling junta is.
Dr. Vaidik, how will you justify pamphlets being distributed talking about black money at a time?
Just listen. No, I am not concerned about all other things, you know. I am talking about this particular problem.
Yeah, but that's what was happening, Dr.
But this was happening in your own rally.
For a strong law. The government, the good leaders, what a good leader would do. He would come out and say, all right, you're supporting us. We will make a stronger law. But now these leaders have converted themselves as the defenders of the Balatkaris. The defenders of the
Dr. Vaidik, I'll just come back to you.
It's so shameful for a party like Congress. Congress has been such a great party and such good people are in Congress. They all are feeling ashamed of themselves. The leadership has completely...
All right, Dr. Vaidik, we will in fact come back to... Nirmala Sitharaman, I'll just come back to Vineet Narayan is in fact joining us, senior journalist. Mr. Narayan, just coming back to the topic of debate here. The Congress party on a number of occasions, representatives of the government has said that laws cannot be made on streets. So in a way, perhaps critical of the way this entire public movement is taking place, the public anger that is taking place on the streets. What is your take on this to start with?
Absolutely. You see, there is a difference between group and mob. If a mob tries to pressurize the establishment to pass law, then this will create such an anarchist situation that every now and then mobs will appear on the streets and will demand amendment or clearing of the bills, etc. So it has to be a group which is of mature people, And that has to negotiate with different political parties. That's one point. The second thing I want to ask both Congress and BJP, how many accused of rape are members of their assemblies and parliament? Why they are not careful in selecting the candidates?
You've touched a nerve
and the
there.
third thing I want to talk about is it a local issue?
Why they haven't
Are we only
suspended them
concerned
so
about the insecurity of women in Delhi? Or is it a national issue? 100 Dalit women are being raped every day in the country. Only 3 are reported. Who is bothered about them? Is civil society bothered about them? Is media bothered about them?